I didn't understand the scale of it all. You were never supposed to, said Sonica. Pawns are never supposed to perceive the game as a whole.
Hi guys, and welcome to Get Review. So finally I got to this book slash review and talking about the Alpha Legion and Alvarius and Omegon and all of those things. So guys, if you followed my posts on our lovely Golden Astartes Discord group and here on the community tab on YouTube, I said that I finished the book and this was like the least my favorite of all of the Horus Heresy books thus far. And why is that? Well, it's because it's just, well, how to put this compared to the other books, it's just a bit boring, honestly. And I enjoyed learning about the Alpha Legion and about Alfaris and Omegon, their procedures, their ways, and I enjoyed learning about Mr. Grammaticus, John Grammaticus, his love story as well, all of that. But besides all of that, the rest was pretty much like a filler to me, and I didn't quite connect to the story the same way I did with the previous books, which was pretty much a lot. Now, there are several things that are key things to the whole lore that happen here. One of those things, of course, is a bit more backstory of the Alpha Legion, more of a backstory of Alfaris and Omegon, and of course, the Cabal and what they showed to the Primarchs and to people that were there. Those are like the main points. So let's get into that. First of all, what do I think about the Alpha Legion? Well, finally, when I get to the Alpha Legion, I would say that they're pretty interesting. They have other ways of doing things. They never reveal their secrets. They're just sneaky bunch. And a lot of the other legions do not get them, and they really look down upon their tactics because they don't think that the Alpha Legion actually work with honor. Which basically they don't really. I mean, they use whatever they can and they don't like to be deceived themselves. So they basically turn everything around when they can and they apply their own tactics to do whatever they want so they can come out on top. And this is exactly what the Primarchs did with John Grammaticus, although he was extremely determined and wanted to convince the Primarchs that this is for real. The Cabal has this extremely valuable information. We have to act now. There's no time. Yeah, but of course, this could be anything and this could be a threat. So, of course, they were extremely cautious. So, that was good character building in terms of the Alpha Legion and the Primarchs and how they both switched between each other and tried to deceive John Grammaticus all the time. And eventually, of course, that got revealed and they had to show themselves that they're two different beings. But one of the things that was very interesting is that one of the Cabal, I think, said that they're one soul in two beings. That's kind of funny because, like I said before, guys, there's a lot of similarities between 40k and esoteric knowledge. So in this case, a twin, according to esoteric knowledge, is actually one soul that, for the sake of development and knowing more, decided to do this and permanently split into two separate souls so you can experience the world with two different eyes. And you do know how twins have a lot of connection between them that is very hard to explain, and that is amongst a lot of identical twins. That's on the side note, but I am gathering more and more similarities between the two. So eventually I can do my video about that, which nobody's gonna watch, but for those of you that are actually interested in such comparisons, I'm the one that can really do that. Now hear this, I made a note on my audiobook because that's kind of tie-ins to what I was saying about chaos this whole time, and here I am getting another confirmation, so let's hear it.
I didn't understand what he was, even when he told me to my face. I didn't understand the scale of it all. You were never supposed to, said Sonica. Pawns are never supposed to perceive the game as a whole.
Yeah, so conversation between Sonica and that Axor, I just totally forgot her name, that John Grammaticus was in love in, but she betrayed him and all of that. So they were talking about that, that she doesn't feel very good about betraying him. And she says that she never perceived, never saw the scale of it all. And like you see, he said, well, you're never supposed to because pawns can never see the bigger picture. I'm paraphrasing once again, but you just heard it. That was always my point once again about the Emperor and chaos. And just please watch my video about the Emperor versus chaos. Yeah, nothing that I have found since has debunked what I say there, so we'll see in the future. But I do think that chaos and the Emperor are both powers that just pull the benefits towards themselves, and in the end of the day they just want to dominate humanity, and that is it. I mean, there's a lot more to that, but you just have to watch that video. So, speaking about dominating humanity and all of those things, what the Cabal showed, of course, to the Primarchs is the fact that if they go with Horus, Horus is gonna win, then he's going to be very upset with himself, basically, and with what he did, so he's just gonna turn his anger towards humanity. I mean, what a crybaby he must be in that moment, instead of just owning up to his mistakes and trying to rebuild everything. But no, he's going to destroy humanity, and with that ending chaos, because it seems like that if you go by the words of the Cabal, only chaos are only dependent on humanity. So humanity is their main source of food, and if humanity is destroyed, so is going to be chaos, saving all the other races in the universe. We also understand that if the Emperor wins, thousands of years of downfall will follow, and chaos is gonna win. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, because the way that the Imperium is ruled now, everything is going in circles, murder, torture, prosecution, everything is negative and all of that. Of course, that this is feeding chaos, like it's no brainer. So there are some people that have this argument where, well, the Emperor had this idea to make a utopia. He was going to create amazing things. Yeah, but through bloodshed, violence, all of those things, that just makes him the bad guy, just another warlord that says that he's gonna do good things, but first he has to subjugate the whole universe against their will and to kill billions and who knows, maybe trillions of people who stand in his way. So that is just what chaos is about, and he is feeding chaos all the time with his actions. So, unfortunately, those are the two options that Cabal presented. In this case, there's really not much to be done because all the events were already in motion, and it's like something that is inevitable at that point when it's caught. But if the Emperor used his time from the very beginning to educate humanity on chaos, how to deal with that, how to nurture their better qualities, how to create just education for everybody, and just to consciously be better in terms of, well, everything, mindset, how you think, how you objectively perceive the world, and not like hold grudges, make wars, all of that. If he were to do all of those things, and once again I go into very, very deep ways of how he should do that, with the whole time that he had for years, thousands of years before he revealed himself. But anyway, I go in detail there. So if he were to do this totally different approach, then yeah, I mean, chaos would be screwed and the situation is going to be like totally different situation. But because he also likes to rule humanity when humanity is extremely ignorant, and to keep it down and to keep it ignorant and unaware of what the real life is, what the real situation in the cosmos is, to promote his imperial truth that is just the imperial lie of the centuries. Of course, then at the end of the day, there's gonna be like two options. One, the Primarchs gonna be super manipulated, and one of them's gonna be Horus, and Horus gonna break all hell loose. Either the whole humanity is gonna pay for its ignorance by dying eventually, I mean being extinct, or the Emperor is going to suffer on the Golden Throne. The people that ruin his name are going to ruin humanity and bring chaos even more powers, which is happening. I'm not saying that humanity is to be faulted for its ignorance. I'm just saying that because of this ignorance, I mean, the Emperor is, I blame the Emperor for humanity's ignorance because he did everything to smudge even more the truth on top of their already being completely manipulated and brainwashed from all the thousands of years of different religions and all those things. And instead of fixing all of that and just presenting the truth and establishing himself as the trustworthy, all powerful emperor of the empire, he presented himself as I'm trustworthy, but I'm faking everything, and now I'm gonna just rule over sheep and all of that. So that's not cool. That's not cool from the emperor. Once again, for a lot more context and where I'm coming from, just go watch that video. So about the Primarchs, they're two interesting dudes. Although not as interesting as some of the other Primarchs, they're a bit more like composed because they're the watchers from the from the sides. They are just like assessing the situation. They just observe and then they act. So they're very sneaky, very clever, very cunning. But at the same time, they're very boring to read about. They really are because they're like too composed. There's not enough there to go on. You get the idea of how they are, how they think, but in the same time, they're so secretive and so slow in the ways that they were written that I'm just like, okay, from all the Primarchs, they're just like the least fascinating with them because all they do is just to be like in the shadows and very mysterious creatures. I mean, they want you to think that they're just one, but they're two, and that is so great. And about the Hydra, the Hydra head, how the other Astartes also pretended to be the Primarchs, everything that they can do. Those tactics are very well known in ancient times, I think. A lot of leaders have done similar things. So it's cool how the Alpha Legion probably takes inspiration from something like that. They are also the most open to anything else, I mean, to other types of truth. So that's why, the Cabal picked them. That all makes sense to me. Judging by Horus's character, what he's going to do and how he's gonna just unleash his own failure in terms of his anger on humanity, that also makes sense. What the Emperor is gonna do, that also makes sense. So that is just aligning with my personal theory and what I was able to extract so far about how is really the Emperor, what is really the Emperor. I mean, in terms of, like I've said, he is pretending to be good, but he's just looking better in comparison with Chaos, but he's not actually good. Anyway, I don't want to repeat myself, but I do think that that's kind of like the most important thing to get in 40k is that the pawns are never supposed to see the bigger picture. And the bigger picture is what the Emperor does not want you to see. Neither he, neither Chaos, But he doesn't seem as wise as a true god, because if he was, he would also see that he's leading humanity towards chaos and he is feeding chaos. So if he really doesn't want to join chaos, or if he really is an anathema to them, then he should try to avoid giving them power. He somehow, in a very arrogant way, thinks that he can take power from the chaos gods while still driving the people into their hands. So I don't know what he was thinking, but it's happening. And chaos, they have all the time on their hands. They're just waiting things out. The Emperor here literally behaves like a human that's too arrogant to admit what he's actually doing, and he thinks that his physical strength is equivalent to his wisdom, which it is not. And he proved that many times. I mean, even the creation of the freaking Primarks is proof that he played with powers that he shouldn't have, and that blew up in his face. and a lot of things blew up in his face, actually, a lot of times. It's just obvious what he should not do, but he's still doing it. And everything that he said and done thus far, at least as far as I know, everything was led by his ego and his desire to just be on top, and that is his end goal. As always, guys, this is a lot of layers to this, but I just want to connect how the Alpha Legion, as nature of their ways, connect a bit to the whole picture, and that this whole story about the Primarchs of Arius and Omegon, what the Cabal said, that is all very right in the current circumstances, and just a big part of the story, and it's like really, really tragic. We don't actually know if we ever gonna see that come to fruition, if the humanity goes fully extinct or something else actually happens. So that's gonna be very interesting, guys, to find out in the future. For now, I'm going to continue with Warhammer Fantasy. I'm reading the first book that the lovely guys from Discord recommended to me. So I'm reading listening to Troll Slayer, Godric and Felix novel. So far is interesting. Very different from 40k. Reminds me of Lord of the Rings a bit, which is great. So we'll see how that goes. But after I finish with that book, I have 2 more fantasy books, which I'm either going to continue or just switch to one more 40k book and then go back to Felix and Godric. We'll see how it goes, guys. But let me know if you're interested also in that. Chaos there is really nasty as well as here. It's really, really nasty, guys. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments. And of course, if you have in mind that nothing is really canon, like I think Dan Albert himself said, don't quote me on that, but I think it was either him or one of the other authors of the books. We'll see what actually is gonna happen at the end. It's a tabletop game, so whatever I think or whatever we think may be totally different. They can always switch things up, come out with some other explanation. So we'll see, guys. But for now, this is my take on Legion and as a whole how this connects to the whole Emperor saga. Thank you very much, guys, for watching. You can check the links down below. You can become a member of the channel, having cool 40k emojis to post and a badge when I live stream someday when I get unblocked, and on my live premieres too. And of course, there's always Patreon, PayPal, my OnlyFans, where I do my meaningful sex education and fitness and wellness content. Till next time, g.t.e.r.my.fitness reviews, guys. My golden Astartes. Bye bye.